Let's fire straight into this then. I'm sat in a very, very cold shed. Behind me that the Liverpool canvas is covering up is a smashed window, unfortunately. So it's freezing in here. So this is going to be a bit of a quicker one as I need to run through it. Did my video yesterday. So I'm going to dive straight into the fixtures, quick look at the league tables for both England and Scotland, little thoughts on what the games are happening this weekend, a lot of good games actually, and we'll go from there. As always, got my group page, so if you want some extra exclusive content, the weekend breakdowns, things like that, get yourself signed up. It's the 30-day free trial, which I'll have up on my Instagram and social medias and stuff today, so you guys can get a little 30-day free trial of it, see the stuff that's already on there, see what it's all about. But let's just go straight into it. Let's go. Just gonna get the computer on my knee so I'm not looking away. Let's just quickly take a look at the Premier League table to start with before we look at the games. We've played seven. We have played 7 games. Arsenal are sitting top of the league table by a point. They've got 16 points. Liverpool sit behind them on 15. Spurs 14, and we can see there Bournemouth 14, so on and so forth as we go down the league table. And currently sitting in the bottom three, we have Burnley, West Ham, and Wolves. Three teams who, yeah, they're gonna be absolutely fighting for everything down there. I think for the rest of the season. West Ham have obviously got Nuno in, so it might change things for them. But let's see. Let's just let's just quickly just go over how amazing it is that football changes and how momentum shifts, and how signings and transfer windows and stuff, which is such a big part of the summer, and we know January as well, even though there's games going on in January to distract you from it. How, like, when people and teams make signings, how we just automatically attach that to success. Liverpool have spent all that money in the summer. They've bought big names like Isaac and Verts. They brought in Kerkez. They brought in Frimpong, and so on and so forth with everyone that they've brought in. And how everyone just kind of automatically goes, yeah, we're going to run away with it. That's it. And it just very, very rarely goes that way. And if anything, when teams have continuity and not too much change, it seems to be when they do well, and that seems to be when they kick on and win something big, i.e. Arsenal, who have just sprinkled a little bit there, but it's a very similar squad that has just been added to rather than people kind of leaving and going away from, which I think has been a big part of what they've done this season. But if you just have a quick look there at the top two for goals for and goals against, Arsenal have got 14 this season, and it's something that we talked about where they needed to get more goals than Liverpool, and that is what everyone's been saying has been their downfall. They've got one more goal than Liverpool, and they have only conceded 3 in 7 games. We know how good they are at the back. It's a goal difference of plus 11, which is huge, whereas Liverpool's is a goal difference of plus 9, and it does feel as if Liverpool might just be a little bit basketball-y this season unless they come back and Slot is looked to address that. I hope he has done, but that's huge. That's huge in terms of Arsenal have got the goals this season and they're continuing to keep the clean sheets, which we all know they have, and it's that finding that balance in between being not too defensive and not too attacking wise. So that's what we're looking at there for the top two. Let's fire straight into the weekend and the fixtures. If my laptop would like to actually load them up and take them, it's because it is not connecting to the internet and is not liking connecting to the internet. So there we go. Got the old hotspot on. Edit that. Right. Yeah, so let's look at the fixtures. It's actually a really, really good, interesting weekend of football to get us back into it. It kicks off with Forest against Chelsea. Now, Ange really desperate for a win. We know there was all the chance of being sacked in the morning and everything like that. It's a home game. It's against a Chelsea team that's still extremely inconsistent. It's a half 12, which is a tough one to get up for anyway, especially after the international break. So, it's could be poor, could be quite chaotic. I don't really know where to go with that one. And I just feel like he's lost a little bit of confidence in himself to just go and do what he's wanted to do, because he obviously has been quite slated for it when he was at Spurs in terms of not showing to adapt and finding that balance, and then he wins the Europa League with having a bit more of a balanced approach, and he just seems he's caught a little bit in between stools himself philosophy wise, with what he wants to do and how he kind of wants to come at the game. So that's a great little game to start with. I like when Forest play at home. I like the stadium and everything like that. It's good, and Chelsea have, as I said, a bit inconsistent, so we'll see how they do there. I don't know. Well, I'll do my predictions in a separate video. I'm not going to do them in this. Just want to run through the games. 3 o'clock's again. Brighton against Newcastle. Good game. Very good. Burnley and Leeds. That's huge. Obviously, the two teams that have just come up. So that's kind of like a 6-pointer for them, looking to try and get some points. Leeds have started off a lot better than Burnley have. It's a home game for Burnley, so I think they need to be looking to go and win that. Palace Bournemouth is the pick of the bunch for me at 3 o'clock. I think that'll be a really decent game. I'm probably going to go both teams to score for that. Actually, in my coupon, and Palace's unbeaten run came at the hands of Everton just before the break, so they'll need to bounce back and make sure that they can get back to winning ways and be that solid team that they're going to be against. And Bournemouth again, who I've been slightly disappointed with. As we said, they do sit fourth in the table, only 2 points off the top. So as much as I've looked at the results on a weekly basis and been like, you should be winning that, you shouldn't be drawing that or whatever, you shouldn't be losing that, 2 points off the top of the table after 7 games. So just Semenyo, I mean, it's not going to be long until someone comes in and gets him, is it? Like that's the next one to go, and he just looks like he can play off the left, he can play off the right. He just looks tailor-made for one of the top teams coming in there. So that's my pick of the bunch for the 3 p.m.s, Palace and Bournemouth. City and Everton. City obviously at home. You would say that City are going to get 3 points there, but it's not like a banker. It's not a banker. I don't know really who I'm going to pick in my last man standing this week in all the fixtures. That so far in my last man standing is the pick that everyone seems to be going for, but it's not a banker. Everton will be tough. David Moyes will know what to do. He'll get them going, and we just don't know what City we have yet. I think they're going to surprise people and be a lot more consistent than even I thought they would be. Just with how they're playing, it really suits Haaland a little bit. Teams are not really feared of them, so it's given Haaland the space to go in behind. And yeah, it's not a banker, but City being at home, they need to be taking 3 points and after looking for the league. And then it's another one with two teams who you think would be closer to the bottom. Sunderland have started off really well, but they're at home to Wolves, and look, Sunderland should be looking to get a win there. That's a home game. That's a 3 points that they should be looking to get. And for Wolves, it's exactly the same there. If they have any hope of trying to stay up and survive, they need to be beating the teams that have come up, and they've just been really, really poor. So we'll see how that goes. 5:30 on Sky, cracker. Fulham against Arsenal. It's a derby. It's Craven Cottage. Fulham are just a bit random, aren't they? They seem a bit worse off than they were last season. I don't know, a little bit stale potentially, just with where they're at. They're probably going to be that team that just kind of floats in that mid-drift spot of the league, and there's not really too much to talk about. But I think Arsenal will go there and do them. I think I might pick them to win just because it's a little bit of a kind of London derby and stuff. I have my doubts, but I think that's who I'm going to pick in LMS. And if Arsenal are looking to win this league, it's a game they should be looking to go win, and I don't think it's going to be a case this season, and it hasn't been for a couple of years, where we're going to see that winning every week type mentality. I think that draws might not be bad results, especially away from home if you get later on in games and you feel like you want to get out there with a point. I don't think it's going to be a bad thing this season. I think we reverted back to that, so that might be one of those for Arsenal, but I can see them going ahead and getting the 3 points. Sunday, we've got Spurs and Villa. I'm going out on Sunday, 1:30. Table is booked in Malone's and Leith with Greg Alley and Jacko. Going to be out there watching the football, a proper Super Sunday, and it kicks off with Spurs and Villa. Again, that's a decent game. It's one that Thomas Frank will be looking to impose himself on, and Villa, who have just kind of started to get a couple of wins under the belt, they'll want to keep that momentum going. And we come into 4:30, Liverpool against Manchester United. It's a big one. Liverpool haven't beat Man United at Anfield in the last 2 seasons. That's a shambles, isn't it? And that's poor, but it just goes to show when this game comes, that kind of form and where teams are at does go out the window, that old cliche, but it has been that case for Liverpool at Anfield. And those 5-0 and 7-0 have kind of like skewed Liverpool a little bit. I think in a weird way it's kind of harmed Liverpool in these games. We've seemed to do well at Old Trafford, better at Old Trafford than we have at Anfield. So 3 defeats in a row for Liverpool coming into this, 1 in the Champions League, 2 in the league. A lot of questions already being asked of Arne Slot. So Campbell saying he just got lucky last season. It's amazing how the narrative changed, and it's interesting doing this and keeping an eye on things like that and how it goes on a week by week basis and how reactionary football really is. But that's it. Like, football right now, if you're looking at the top of the table, Arsenal are riding the wave, and they've got the crest of the wave. They've got the positivity, they've got the energy, the media and the fans behind their back. And it's the opposite for Liverpool, where it's a bit of negative energy. And seasons are all about battling through when you're on those waves and moving up and down. And when you're on it, you want to take advantage of it and get as many points as you can. And when you're down, you need to grind it out, see if you can nick a couple of wins, get a couple of draws, and get yourself back up, riding that wave at the crest of it as quickly as you can. So it's a big one. It's always a big one, this game anyway, but it is a big one, and it's one for Amorim too after beating Sunderland. Can he get back-to-back league wins? If he can do it at Anfield, that would be massive. Man United have done well there. They raised their game for it. Liverpool have struggled against the three at the back, typically. So I don't feel good about it. I never do coming into these games, to be quite honest with you, but I really don't feel about it. Ali said that if United win, he's on the Jaeger come the end of the game, and I've got a feeling I'll be buying that man a Jägermeister, a wee shot of Jaeger or something. I don't like it, but we'll see how that goes, and then it finishes off with West Ham and Brentford on Monday night, 8 o'clock. Game for Nuno there. Try and impose himself on. It's one he should be looking to get 3 points in against Brentford. So look, lots and lots of interesting fixtures, and really it is kind of the TV games, bar Palace and Bournemouth at 3 o'clock, that are all the big ones in there, and Anfield's the one everyone will have their eyes on. And look, if I take my Liverpool hat off, I just want it to be a good Super Sunday. It's two big teams. I just want it to be a good game. You know what I mean? I just want it to be a good game. I don't want it to be drab at all from a neutral point of view. So we'll see. Come on, Liverpool, please don't lose that game. But that kicks us off there. That kicks us off. If we move into Scotland, SPFL, we look at the league table. Hearts are top of the table, 19 points. What was really interesting that I seen when I had a little look at this is Hearts have scored 16 goals. 16 goals. They've had a lot of comebacks. They're getting a lot of goals in games. That's been huge for them. They've conceded 6, so clean sheets will be something they want to look to improve on. Celtic have only conceded 3, but again have scored 5 less goals. But I think Iheanacho coming in at the end of the window and everything will help them boost those goals up, as I've said in previous videos. And if you take a look at the league after that, Kilmarnock are third on 10 points. Aberdeen are bottom of the league on 4. So there's 6 points that separates third from 12th. And look, I think Dundee and Falkirk and Livingston will end up kind of being ultimately, you would think, the 3 kind of down at the bottom there as the league season goes on. But like Aberdeen, if they can kick on, they've got a good squad, right? Like it's not happening from them. If they can kick on, they could easily finish anywhere between third down. Obviously, Rangers are going to be in the mix and get better depending on who they bring in as manager. Hibs are decent. Motherwell are really good. St Mirren are good. Dundee United, Kilmarnock. Like it's a hell of a league. It really, really is. It's getting stronger. There's not a lot of real shit teams, and even going away to Livy on the pitch, Falkirk have got a lot of energy. I think Dundee's probably the easiest one out of them all to go to. Apologies Dundee fans, but I think Dundee will potentially come bottom in that league table. It'll be between them and Falkirk. So yeah, the league's really interesting. I see over here on the right hand side with my screen up, if you're watching, it's that Ivan Dolcek that's the top goal scorer in the SPFL. He's got 5 goals, so that's huge for Dundee United. They've scored 12, conceded 11. It just seems to be one of those teams. They could be a little bowl team to score on the Coupon. Actually, I need to check in a second who they've got, but that's the league table. And look, Hearts are away to, let's get into it actually. Hearts are away to Kilmarnock, aren't they? On Saturday, it's the 5:45 game on the TV on Premier Sports. So really tough game. McInnes going back to the team that he previously managed, and as I said, Kilmarnock sitting there in third. It's a big test for Hearts to go away, especially after a break. You're trying to find your rhythm again. You're trying to get things back on. So to crack out of a game, Celtic are away to Dundee on the Sunday at midday. Can't really see anything other than Celtic 3 points there. It really shouldn't be. Rangers currently without a manager at home at Dundee United. I don't think they'll have anyone in before then. At the time of recording this, it's Thursday. This will be out on the same day. So okay, they maybe will get someone in on Friday or Friday, but then he's not gonna have any time to work with the players. So that's a slippery one for them. That's a slippery one in general. Anyway, like I said, the league's there, but that could be another one. And if they fall further behind, that's not going to be good. Motherwell and Falkirk and Hibs and Livingston kind of rounds us off for the fixtures there. So Kilmarnock and Hearts for me, and then Rangers and Dundee United really is the interesting ones of the weekend. And it's Hearts 11 clear, I think it is right now, of Rangers in 8th, and I've been harping on about breaking the old firm and everything like that, and how it can be done this season, and can it be done, and I really do think it can. So if Hearts can get a win there and Rangers struggle against Dundee United, huge moment for the league, and Hearts play Celtic after this weekend. That's the one everyone is going to be having their eyes on. Is that just like a 3 o'clock kickoff? It probably is. It's a midday kickoff on the Sunday. Class. I love that. 12 o'clock Sunday, the following weekend. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. But that's the league table there. Just to finish off with on that, I've said a lot about Rangers. I've had good debates with Big Scotty G. Man who's helped me start this podcast up in the early days. about Rangers, and I had a little look because I was intrigued what Rangers managers have won leagues for them, and I'm not talking like all the way back at the beginning of time, but let's just go kind of from the kind of late 80s, 90s onwards. You know, it's Walter Smith, it's Alex McLeish, it's Steven Gerrard, Dick Advocaat wins some in there. I'm not talking about like the championship and things like that, you know, just the top league table. And you think of those guys, Walter Smith, obviously, we know, ingrained, gets it, you know, Rangers, Glasgow. Alex McLeish the same, Rangers, Glasgow, gets it. Okay, Dick Advocaat was for him, but at the time, you know, you've got like Van Bronckhorst and the De Boer brothers there, and that's that time where Rangers have got those foreign players in that are real peak. So Gerrard, Smith, Advocaat, McLeish. I can't remember Dick Advocaat well enough, so Rangers fans, you can let me know, or anyone else that can remember him. But if I take Smith, McLeish, Gerrard, one thing for me they all have in common is just sheer mentality people, more so than philosophy people, right? And I just think that's what type of club Rangers are. It's a mentality club. It's this is who we are. Like, I can't tell you what style of football it was under Steven Gerrard. I can't tell you what style of football it was under Walter Smith another couple of times, but it won them stuff. Same with McLeish. So whoever they get in, I just think has to have that mentality. And like Scotty made a point on our group chat about Celtic, you know, have done what they did with Ange with that kind of like expansive style of football. Like Celtic win, but I don't know. I just as a neutral, I think Celtic are a little bit more that way as a club in terms of that. It's not like that's not a diss on Rangers, by the way. I think that's a great way to be. Is just like we just have the ball, we're on top of you, we suffocate you, we win football matches. That's it really, to be honest, for me. So I just thought the managers that have won leagues for Rangers was interesting, and they're all kind of real big characters and mentality people, more so necessarily than kind of like Brendan Rodgers and Postecoglou's, you know, those types of guys that Celtic have had in recent years. But look, we're in 2025, so maybe times have changed, and maybe that is what you need to win the league. But I don't know. I think, like, you know, I'm looking around and I'm really thinking Derek McInnes is the man that would come in there and do that for Rangers and be that type of guy and be that type of character. But let's see. I'm waffling on anyway. I'll get predictions up separately tomorrow with what I thought. This is a quick run through the games. I'm absolutely freezing in here, so I'm gonna get myself out. This will be up and running. It's gonna start next week, kind of getting it ready, getting it together to get the boys in here and get some podcasts in here, kind of conversation stuff. As always, like and subscribe, comment. Grouped us up, free 30-day trial. If you want to check it out, see what type of content you get, weekend breakdowns, see if you like that type of stuff. If you follow and you like it and everything like that, you comment, appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend. The club football is back. I feel like my soul is back when the football's back, the club stuff. Like, I feel so detached from life. I don't know where I'm at. I'm lost. So I'm good it's back. Gonna have a few pints on Sunday. Come on, up the Reds. And as always, until the next one, have a good one. Peace.